What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. So we got some MLB news, some stuff that happened over the last week or so. Padres extended Jake Crover 7 years, $80 million. So he's been a really underrated piece for the Padres. They locked him up. He came up at second base. He's put up on the first base the last couple of years. So I was giving some outfields because they have so many middle infielders over there. You have Machado, Bogarts, Tatis, even Hae-Sung Kim's still there, so he's played a good amount of first base. I believe they're everyday first baseman. So they lock him down. He's a very underrated player from our All-Star, really good young player. San Francisco Giants signed Gary Sanchez to a minor league deal. Of course, he was with the Yankees for most of his career, was in Minnesota last year. He's always been a guy who's got some decent power, can give you 20, 25 home runs, but is only going to hit about 220, not a good defender. I mean, he had some some base running issues with the Yankees, but I think he can be a solid backup catcher because he does have power, but he's gonna strike out a ton. He's gonna make mistakes in the base path. He's not good defensively. He's got a good arm, but he's not a good pitch framer. Can't keep the ball in front of him. He's not the greatest, but as a backup, he's not bad. He could be a decent mentor for Joey Bart over there, who Ferranze came out basically came out and said if it does what he did last year, which he did struggle, they're gonna move on. They're gonna find somebody else to replace him. So may also could put some pressure on Joey Bart because clearly Ferranze was not happy with him struggling last year. From our second overall pick a few years back by the Giants. The Angels third baseman Anthony Rendon was suspended for 4 games. It was originally 5 games, but because of an agreement between the MLB and the Players Association, he got reduced to 4 games. He had an interaction with a fan where apparently the fan was heckling him, and then he was like right over like the Angels dugout. As he was going to the clubhouse, he said that started yelling at him, saying apparently he called him a bitch. Like, he called me a bitch, and they were yapping, and he actually put his hands in the fan. He kind of grabbed the guy's shirt, kind of like yanked on his shirt, and he ended up got suspended for 4 games. If you watch the original video, it looked pretty bad on Rendon's part. And he basically almost grabbed the guy's shirt. I'm not sure if he actually made contact. Like he looked like he almost tried to punch the guy. Like it almost looked like he almost tried to punch him in the face almost. But there was another video. From another angle, honestly, he was definitely kind of yelling, like almost like over the dugout to him, and then Rendon base kind of took, he took notice to that, and he started, getting in the guy's face, and started yapping at him, and they were going back and forth, and then he kind of almost took a swing at him for Rendon at the fan. So, but he got 4 games for that. I'm gonna leave it at that. That's one of those I'm kind of split on, I think it was very unprofessional of the fan. But if you Rendon, you can't trust But Rendon, I think kind of overreacted as well. Like I think if he gets in the guy's face and just tells him to go f himself and says whatever, maybe puts his points down even his fingers kind of in his face. I think I think that would be fine. If you're as a fan, if you're gonna heckle somebody, expect to people to fire back. But he can't try to hit the guy. That's something you just can't do. Robbie Ray, Mariners stars on IL with a flexor strain. He's a great pitcher. It's one knock on him. He has trouble staying healthy. Luis Urias, 6 to 8 weeks for hamstring strain. So it's a decent loss for the Brewers. He was really talented when he first came up with San Diego. Didn't trade him to Milwaukee, and he really hasn't been able to put it together. Braves retired. Braves are going to retire Andrew Jones's number 25 on September 9th. So good for Andrew Jones, just one of the greatest center fielders in the history of the league. Arguably should be in the Hall of Fame. On to hockey. You got scores from last night. Golden Knights of the Wild 4-3 in a shootout. But since the Wild get a point, they do push a playoff spot, I believe. I will confirm that when I go over the standings in about a minute or two. Stars over the Predators 5-1. The Kraken over the Coyotes 8-1. Good lord. And we're actually going to go into the standings right now. Looking at the East, you got the Bruins, who already put the President's Trophy. They have 125 points. Got Carolina, has 107. Got the Devils at 104, Rangers at 101, Toronto at 100, Tampa at 96 points. All the 6 of those teams have clinched a playoff spot. Of course, Boston's clinched the President's Trophy. Yeah, the Islanders were the first wild card. They have 87, and Pittsburgh has the second wild card. They have 86. So Pittsburgh right now is the 8th seed. Florida's a point out of it. Buffalo is 5 points out, and Ottawa 6 points out. That's where we stand in the West. You got Vegas leads the West with 103. The Kings have 100. They're in second. Edmonton's at 99. They're in third. Dallas is at 98. Minnesota also at 98. And they both play the same amount of games. Minnesota's got 2 more wins. Dallas has 2 less regulation losses and 4 more overtime losses. You got Colorado at 96, Seattle at 90, and Winnipeg at 89. This is very tight. The top 5 have clinched. Vegas, the Kings, Edmonton, Dallas, and Minnesota have already clinched a playoff spot. Calgary is at 2 points out. Nashville's at 5 points out. Looking at what the playoff picture is looking like in the NHL in the East. Right now, it's going to be Devils-Rangers. Devils 3 points ahead of the Rangers. Carolina leads the Devils by 3 points in the Metro. Rangers by 6, so that's what it is right now. You also have Toronto against Tampa in the first round. That's what we're gonna have, and then we're gonna have as of right now, Carolina I believe is gonna play Pittsburgh in the first round, and then Boston is gonna play the. I might have to swap that. No, I think Carolina's gonna play the Islanders in the first round if the season ends today. And then Boston would play Pittsburgh if the season ended today. I believe that's how it would work out. And by the way, speaking of the Islanders, Matt Barzal is most likely will be back before the playoffs, so he should be back very soon. We got college basketball. National championship. UConn is your national champion. They beat San Diego State 76-59. They are your 2023 college basketball national champions. Congrats to UConn. They rolled through the competition. They won by double digits every single game. A couple of games they had to come from behind, including the first round against Iona. Well run by UConn. A 4 seed beats the 5 seed San Diego State. UConn is your national champs. Kudos to Dan Hurley getting a national championship ring. Those Hurleys know what to coach, him and Bobby Hurley. Of course, Bobby Hurley was a legendary Duke player. Now coaches Arizona State. And Dan Hurley, of course, just got a natty with UConn. I believe their father is a legendary high school coach as well, so obviously runs in the family. And by the way, I want to talk about this. So obviously, I talked about the women's national championship with who won? I'm drawing a blank. Who beat Iowa? LSU. I cannot believe I just forgot that. LSU beat Iowa. Caitlin Clark thing with and the Angel Reese thing, whatever. I already covered that. Why is Iowa going to the White House? Dude, that's so stupid. White House is for winners. Iowa did not win. Do not invite them to the White House. Also, I don't think Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark should be near each other anytime soon. At all. So, yeah. And also, to people with the argument over Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, stop making it about race, okay? Stop doing that. Stop making everything about race. Yes, Angel Reese, it was not classist at all. Doing what she did. You can say that, but don't make it a black-white thing. It had nothing to do with that. Stop it, okay? Get out of here with that. On to the NBA. Yeah, LaMarcus Aldridge announced retirement for the second time. He retired about a year or two ago. Then he came back. He's had some heart problems, but he retired for the second time. 7-time All-Star, was honestly an underrated player. Was a beast in Portland. Was really good with the Spurs, and then he finished up his last year or two with the Brooklyn Nets. So he announced retirement. Naz Reid got 6 weeks with wrist surgery. He's had the best year of his career for Minnesota, averaging 11 points a game this year for Minnesota. As one of their big guys. Will be a free agent after the season. We'll see what happens. But he's out 6 weeks wrist surgery, so it's a pretty decent loss for Minnesota. He hasn't got quite his plan. He made the big trade for Rudy Gobert, and of course, Karl-Anthony Towns just missed a ton of time. And now Naz Reid. I'm not sure if we see him the rest of the season. Nick Nurse could retire. The head coach of the Raptors may retire. says he's gonna have to think about his future or something along those lines. What he said. So keep you posted on that. And Andrew Wiggins expected back this week. By the way, the reason he's been out for over 2 months at this point is because his father is dealing with a serious illness. So I'm glad that he took time off. Families always come first. I hope his father is doing better. I hope him a speedy recovery. And glad to see that he's going to be back on the court. Some NFL news. Brian Hoyer signed the Raiders on a 2-year deal. No financial terms yet, but he'll probably back up Jimmy G. You know the Raiders love their expatriates. Coaches, players, executives, they love them. They don't work for them, but they keep bringing them in. Marvin Jones goes back to the Lions. That was about a week ago. I don't know if I covered that yet. 1 year, $3 million. Solid deal with all-star for him. He's a solid receiver 3. Lions add another weapon. Ravens made an offer to OBJ. So interesting. Obviously, he's connected to the Jets because Aaron Rodgers wants him. As different, I don't want him on the Jets, so Ravens can take him. As far as I'm concerned. We had a big story come out. Supposedly, Bill Belichick has shopped Mac Jones this offseason. So very interesting. We'll see if he does get moved. Could that Lamar to New England rumors, could those heat up a little bit? Is there a little more substance behind them now? We shall see. By the way, Anthony Richardson is visiting 6 teams. Going to visit the Ravens, who of course are probably going to lose Lamar. Going to whether he leaves, sign, trade. It's most likely will not be on the Ravens next year. The Colts got the 4th pick. May not get the guy they want in the draft with Carolina leapfrogging them. Of course, you also have the Houston Texans there. The Raiders maybe could be the heir apparent to Jimmy G. You signed for 3 years. The Panthers, who may take a number 1 overall. Well, Frank Reich really likes them. But Titans, who I heard are looking to trade to number 3. Maybe get a heir apparent to Ryan Tannehill. They have a new GM in Ron Carvin. He did not draft Malik Willis, who looked abysmal in limited action last year as a rookie. And the Falcons, who you took right in the 3rd round last year. Want to give him a shot, but that doesn't work out. Maybe you go with Anthony Richardson. All right, last thing I have to cover. WWE has been sold. Endeavor, the company that owns UFC, has bought WWE. UFC and WWE are partnering on a $21.4 billion, that's with a B, dollar deal. Ari Emanuel, who runs Endeavor, he is CEO of... He will be the CEO. Vince McMahon is still the executive chairman of the board. The president of the company will be Dana White, who of course is the president of UFC, and Nick Khan, who's been the president of WWE for a couple of years now. Endeavor owns 51% of the company of WWE. The existing shareholders in WWE hold the other 49%. So, not sure what it means for Triple H creative. How much will Vince have? Of course, he stepped down as head of creative, and Triple H took over, and everything was going so well. And then he came back. He reelected himself as the head of the executive board because he can, and he still owns the company. Apparently, just to sell the company, which he did, but he's still executive chair, head of the executive board. He is still executive chairman of the board. Supposedly, he was. He was helping Triple H with the creative with Raw last night. I'm not gonna go. I haven't even watched it yet. I do plan to cover that Raw after WrestleMania though at some point, so keep your eyes out for that. So I'm not sure what's gonna happen. Will we see some UFC guys enter WWE? And a few years back, we thought Brock and Daniel Cormier were gonna fight. Brock, confronted them after a match, and Dana White said it was going to happen, but then, Daniel Cormier ended up retiring, and then Brock was busy, so it never ended up happening. Could now, DC said he would want to fight Brock in a wrestling match. Could that come to fruition now? We shall see what happens. It'll be very interesting, but that's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.